Good day. It's Monday, and once again, we're going to take a look back at the week before and look ahead at the week to come. And for those of you who do watch these videos, I hope you find them useful. I found them over the years to be a really effective tool for communicating a lot of information. And there have been some things that have appeared in the video that have resulted, as I've mentioned earlier, may have mentioned in a preface to one. Sometimes they can head off a problem, or sometimes they can give you a hint on what's about to come or how to handle a certain situation. So thank you for watching, those of you who do, and for those of you who don't, well, it seems silly to ask to use a video for a way to ask you to watch one, doesn't it? And that leads me into a point about technology. You know, technology was what we talked about in Unit 4. And the funny thing is, I'm using a communication technology right now, but it's very interesting, right? If nobody watches it, is it communication? No, it's broadcasting. I put something out there and hope that people catch up to it. Do I know that I'm reaching people? No. So there's a very interesting conundrum, right? Yeah, I'm using what is physically a technological wonder compared to what I used to have to use, right? And somebody in my vintage. But how do I know I'm actually communicating? So the thing is, we have to understand that technology has some very basic definitions, as does the idea of competency. You know, a competency is a capability. And a core competency is something that your organization or an individual does very, very well, and perhaps singularly well. We do this well enough so that we do it better than anybody else, that we should be building our organization around this competency. And I think in some cases we tend to forget that. And we look more towards the results of the competency. So if we say an organization's core competency is quality, is it really? Okay. If their core competency is their employees and their training and customer service, is it really? Or is it the application of other capabilities that lead to that ultimate competency that then becomes a competitive advantage and sets that organization apart? It's sometimes a little bit of a difficult connection to make. Many people also confuse core competencies with core values. You know, you can have great core values, but if you don't have the competency to accomplish the things that need to be done, that need to add up to accomplishing those values, you really don't have anything. So just when you're going through in other courses and in other contexts, try to keep some of those distinctions in mind. It's very important. Well, this week now we have reached the halfway point, and we're going to transition into what we'll hear in many cases is a cliche, right? We're going to start talking about change and how, you know, we know that change is the only constant thing, that cliche. But the thing that we're going to look at today is two basic types of change. Revolutionary, that's the one that just hits you in the face. Bang! Something different has happened. It's a major change. It's happening now. We have to react to it. The pandemic has caused many companies to have to engage in revolutionary change. Maybe it accelerated trends that were already there. Sometimes it presented new problems, and those had to be dealt with. And so companies changed. Then there's the kind that's evolutionary. And evolutionary change is just like it says. It takes a long time. It takes place in increments. Sometimes it takes place so slowly that we don't know what's happening. And then we have to say, wow, how did something sneak up on us? What happened? How did we miss that? So what we're going to look at this time around is those concepts, and we're going to use some examples. Particularly in the discussion, we want to use the example of what used to be the largest retailer in the world. Today, they're hardly in existence anymore. They are effectively gone. Okay? So when you look at Sears, which was a household word, and the dominant retailer, they're a company that's on the brink of extinction. In fact, for all practical purposes. Well, what happened to them? We're going to want to look at things, and people are going to say right away, well, you know, Sears needs to get caught up with the information age, with the online retailing and things like that. Or is it too late for that? How did the world sneak up on a company as dominant as Sears? It's a question of a lot of things. It is a question of technology. It is a question of foresight. It's a question of strategy. It's a question of being organized to handle the change. It's being a question of being aware of what the marketplace is doing around you. It's definitely a question of leadership. But it's a formula for disaster, but if managed right, it can be a formula for great success. And I think you're going to find the opportunity to discuss this very interesting. This really gets back into, basic microeconomics when we talk about the life cycle of a business. Businesses are like living organisms. They come into existence, they grow, they expand, they plateau, they form and go into adulthood, they go into decline. Generally, they end up dying off. Maybe even in a different form they can stand on and stay on. But even Jeff Bezos has said, Amazon one day is going to become obsolete. Amazon's going to close. It's going to be done. Hard for us to believe today because they seem to be the standard that we measure so many other things against. So this week, make sure that you're thinking about the whole question of the Sears discussion in a very, very detailed way. I really ask you to be very analytical about it. Do your homework, read up, understand it. Don't just go with the first thought that comes into mind, but go into that issue deeply and see what's going to happen. I will post some supplemental information too for you on certain business models that will be mentioned in this week's reading, but it's something a lot of people, we've all heard of, but we don't really know how it works. And that's the hedge fund model. And then some of these actions that happen at Sears may mean more to you and make more sense. All right. So again, thank you for your efforts. Thank you for the participation. I will try to keep to my usual schedule of getting discussions done by Tuesday, papers done by Wednesday, and so that you can use them. Please keep that level of discourse up and high. Follow the discussion through to the end of the week, and give it the effort you've done for the first half. We are now in the second half. I think we know what the expectations are. Okay, so of course, if you have any questions, please contact me, and I'll be happy to try to help. Thank you very much.